Welcome, welcome, welcome. I forewarn you, I have a cold. I was in Chicago and caught a cold. Then, of course, I went to California and I just could not deal with the smoke. Um, but let's see, Francois, Potato, Big Mike. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard that it was really, really good, and I need to watch that today. Um, our girl Berg, Wyoming, welcome. Um, the devastation is real out there. Big Mike, yeah, if you wanted to do a podcast or something, that's great. You can always email me and uh, let me see. We can set something up. I'm so sorry. Today, I was going over that. I wanted to have some fun with Tiffany's breakthrough that she was going to show receipts, and I haven't gone through all the comments, and I haven't checked my email. I apologize to everybody. I just have not had time. But when I was checking about the lawsuits she was talking about, I wanted to pull those lawsuits up. But I use Pacer to get the legal stuff. And Scott, so good to see you. Thank you, Big Mike. And I was surprised at what I saw. And I thought, okay, I've got my Alka-Seltzer Plus. So it always helps a cold for me. And I thought, maybe I should do a live on this. The way I want to set things up is do the warrant lists, pre-recorded, throw something else in there that people are asking about, and then maybe do a live. Not in one day. Okay. But let me share the screen. The first thing, and I do apologize if you hear traffic. I do have my window open. Okay. So, the first lawsuit I found was Weiderman versus the Village of Dolton. And I found that strange. Hey, status quo, I'm sorry. Good to see you. I found it interesting. I thought, wow, okay. So let's look at the documents here. Let me see here. Oh, wrong sugars. So sorry. Where is it? There it is. Grab it. Catch it. Yes, and we're going to go through that lawsuit right now. Let me make it bigger. And let me make sure. Can you see it okay? Frank Zuccarelli versus William Shaw lawsuit. I haven't seen that one yet. I was looking for the recall lawsuits because I wanted to do fact checking on what Henyard said. But I ran into a lot of things that surprised me. Scott, bless your heart. You're so thoughtful. God bless you. Okay, so can everybody see that okay? Do I need to make it bigger? Okay. How's that? That looks better. Yeah, he is, isn't he? Forgive me. Stephanie Weiderman versus Tiffany Henyard individually and in her official capacity as mayor of Dolton, the Village of Dolton, Dolton police officers Hobson, Dolton police detective DeVries, and Dolton police sergeant M. Harris. Yes, Scott's so wonderful. Wyoming's so wonderful. Everybody's wonderful here, aren't we? What is this all about? Let's take a look. She was arrested or arrested? Wyoming. Arrested. Okay. She was arrested. Oh, dear Lord. Okay. I like Stephanie. I watched her, Thornton Township, and at the Dolton Park District. I find some things questionable, but I find things questionable with everything, everybody. And I point that out. Okay. So, what is the complaint? By and through her attorneys, Melanie Power of West Town Law Office, Madeline Townsend, Law Office of Madeline Townsend, complains against defendants, Tiffany Henyard, Village of Dolton, Dolton police officers that we just stated. I didn't see Harris in there. I didn't read that. Oh, yeah, okay. Sergeant Harris. I'm sorry. Give me time, please. Okay. Plaintiff, Weiderman, was a resident of Thornton, Illinois, in Cook County in the Northern District of Illinois. Defendant, Village of Dolton, is a municipal corporation duly incorporated under Illinois law and is the employer and principal of defendant officers. Dolton is being sued on a mono theory of liability, as well as on an, do I have to say that? Indemnification theory of liability for defendant officers and defendant Henyard. Okay, my little, not little, my detectives in the chat. What is mono theory? Yeah, Big Mike. The taxpayers are going to pay for the lawyers, the lawsuits, the court, charges, all of that. LNC went to Dolton in April. He bought $300 worth of pizza, brought it to the, yes. Oh, was it her that did that? Oh, I heard someplace it was Norwood and Kiana, but it was Stephanie that did that. Aha, the plot thickens. Okay. Yeah, taxpayers are going to pay for this. Okay. What do we got? Defendant, Tiffany Henyard. Henyard, or Mayor Henyard, is the mayor of Dolton and supervisor of Thornton Township and a resident of Cook County in the Northern District of Illinois. At the time of these occurrences, Henyard was acting in her official capacity and under color of law. Henyard is being sued in both her individual and official capacities. Defendants Hobson, DeVries, and Harris are employed as law enforcement officers by Dolton and, at the time of these occurrences, were acting within the course and scope of their employment under color of law. Okay. Then they're going to talk about jurisdiction here. I don't think we have to read that. Facts. Okay. Oh, yeah. That was pathetic, taking that pizza. Because everybody said, we didn't get any pizza. Well, no, you didn't. Because they took it and they put it in the back. That's just rude. Okay. Wyoming comes through. Mono theory, government violation of civil rights. Thank you. Okay. Weiderman has been a resident of Cook County since 1980. Plaintiff started working for Thornton Township in 2002 and worked in various positions within the townships until March 2022. Wow, 20 years? She should be retired, right? The Village of Dolton is in Thornton Township. Dolton holds bi-monthly meetings for the Dolton Board of Trustees, which runs the village in coordination with the Dolton mayor. I have a problem with that. Bi-monthly meetings. They're supposed to have the cow and then the regular board meeting, but when's the last time we've seen a cow meeting? Even though the trustees are, heading up the meetings or scheduling the meetings. Am I missing them, or have I just not seen cow meetings anymore? It seems to be one meeting per month. But the board is making up the agenda, so I'm a little confused on that. Is Henyard preventing cow meetings? Okay. These meetings are open to the public, and members of the public are allowed to attend and to comment during specified public comment sections. As a politically engaged resident of Thornton Township, plaintiff frequently attends these meetings and shares her thoughts on matters of public concern during the public comment section. Tiffany Henyard, elected mayor of Dolton, and becomes center of controversy. Is that an odd line to put in there? There hasn't been one. Yeah. I can't remember a cow meeting. But they're scheduling them. I did watch Jason House's interview on Investigate and Advocate. I had questions about it, but the budget has been blown. Maybe they can't do any contract yet. Oh, maybe. Do they pay the park district for having those meetings? Tiffany stopped them, from what I understand. Thank you, Wyoming. Sometimes I'm going to pause because I have to blow my nose or something. Okay. This is interesting. But that was kind of strange. Becomes center of controversy. I wonder why they would put that in there. In February 2021, Tiffany Henyard was elected mayor of Village of Dolton. Henyard's first year as mayor, she took a number of actions which generated substantial controversy, such as, we get to see details. See, these are receipts, Miss Henyard. Yeah, Wyoming, it was informative, but it was kind of soft. There's a lot of questions I would have liked to have heard asked of him, but I'll probably do a video on that, and do some fact checking, which I do with all of them. Anybody running for office or who is in office, I'm going to look at. Everybody knows it. So this is interesting. Here's facts. Tiffany Henyard. If you watch this channel, pay attention. Receipts. Forming her own personal security detail of 3 full-time Dolton police officers, paid for by the Village of Dolton, decreasing the number of officers available for routine law enforcement. Okay, so why did she have the detail? Yeah, it was pretty predictable, and fundraising went on, of course. But why did Tiffany have to have the detail in the first place? Because of the protests. Did she need 3 or 4 or 5? How many officers are specifically in that detail? Because I haven't been able to find that yet. I haven't been able to find how many. But that, I believe, was the reason for it. Did it happen in 2021 or did it happen in 2022? Okay, here we go. Using public funds to pay for billboards prominently featuring Henyard's name and image, altering the advertising for local Dolton public events and programs to prominently feature Henyard's name and image, and using public funds to pay for personal travel, including a lavish trip to Las Vegas for Henyard. Yeah, it was the Alexis Wilson protest. Okay, so Stephanie was arrested. What was she arrested for? And why is all this included in the lawsuit? But it's very helpful. I find this very interesting because these have to be facts, right? They're in court documents. That's the way it's supposed to work. Wow, this is a timeline. Look at this. On December 8th, 2021, the Dolton Board of Trustees voted to call a recall election against Henyard to be held on June 28th, 2022. Is this why Henyard was talking about the recall in that she's going to show receipts that she never showed interview? I'm factually late. Hi, Dwayne. It's good to see you. We're going over Stephanie Weiderman's lawsuit against the Village, Henyard, and certain police officers. Harvey's Hooligans, welcome. Welcome. Donna B, welcome. So good to see you. Good to see everybody. It's nice to be back home. Okay. These are specific details, aren't they? Interesting. On December 8th, 2021, the Dolton Board of Trustees voted to recall, I think I just read that, to recall election against Henyard to be held on June 28th, 2022. In the June 28th, 22 recall election, Dolton voters voted to remove Mayor Henyard from office. That's true. GFX, very good to see you. This is very, very interesting and detailed. That's why I love Pacer. You can click on the court case. Okay. Mayor Henyard remained in office, however, as the election result was invalidated by Illinois courts on procedural grounds. Yeah, Henyard, Riley tried to recall Henyard, Hunt, and Brown back in the day, and that failed as well. But Illinois representatives, Republicans, are trying to put forth a bill on recalls to be voted on before the assembly. And they specifically said Dolton. Okay. Here we go. Plaintiff was and is an outspoken critic of Mayor Henyard, both online and plaintiff's personal Facebook account and in person at Dolton board meetings. Plaintiff has expressed her belief that Mayor Henyard is misusing her office to enrich herself and her political allies and has misappropriated public funds for her own private gain. Plaintiff's post, while at times highly critical of the mayor, contained nothing that could be reasonably construed as threats or intimidation. Despite this, Mayor Henyard has repeatedly portrayed plaintiff's criticism as a threat to her safety and the safety of her family. That's interesting. Riley was successful in getting them term limits. And that's an important thing. You know, Big Mike, does the mayor have term limits? I haven't found that ordinance. I know the trustees do, but do the mayors? Keep reading for the thin premise of this. And okay, in Chicago, an avenue to recall is probably a good idea. Yes. And hopefully the Republican representatives are putting forth this bill and it will be passed. Okay. Let me see. Where'd we leave off? Mayor Henyard accused the plaintiff of trying to intimidate her when plaintiff attended a Dolton Board of Trustees meeting and looked at the defendant mayor. She looked at her? Defendant mayor accused plaintiff of harassment for posting critical comments in a local Facebook group. I wonder what Facebook group that was. Can anybody guess? Yes, the trustees was successful in getting the mayor and oh, wonderful. Oh, but Riley was able to work with Napoleon Harris to have it override in a bill signed by Pritzker. We keep coming up with the same names, don't we, Big Mike? That's something I don't like. Wonder what Tiff thinks of definition of a threat is. Yeah, what is a threat? And what is the Facebook page? Can anybody guess? Okay. Where am I? Defendant mayor. Every time I read that, I have to laugh. I'm sorry. Defendant mayor accused plaintiff of stalking her based on plaintiff's attendance at public board meetings and events hosted by Mayor Henyard. Mayor Henyard has treated plaintiff's speech critical of defendant mayor and plaintiff's attendance at open government events as if they were a campaign dedicated to harass, stalk, and threaten defendant mayor's life and that of her family. Has anybody heard of Stephanie Weiderman doing that? Back in 2 seconds. Thank you. Yeah, Big Mike, I agree. But who's going to replace? Who? You know, you only have so many choices, right? So, and I was thinking of something last night and I thought, well, okay, maybe they vote in Jason House, but what about the other trustees? What about the other trustees? Is that going to be divided? Because Jocelyn King did defeat Tammy Brown in the election, and she's on Henyard's slate. However, it was overturned because of residency. Weiderman is merely engaged in her community and peaceful interactions. I haven't seen Stephanie outrageously. I stopped watching Dalton politics. It just gets so crazy, the things they come up with. But I didn't see. I don't think I've ever seen her scream and shout. Has anybody else? That was really low, taking the pizzas. Okay. So, why does Henyard always seem to be threatened? Stalked. She's the mayor. She's going to be stalked. Okay. Mayor Henyard has weaponized her authority over the Dolton Police Department to harass, intimidate, and arrest plaintiff for her protected speech and participation in her local government. I didn't see the arrest. When did the arrest occur? Because it doesn't say right here. Andrew Holmes was also a Riley supporter. Yep. At a time. Belcher was Team Tiff. But Tiff ran on Riley's slate back in 2000. Yes, she did. These people are all the same. The same recycled politicians remarket. And that's the problem, isn't it, Big Mike? And, if you question people, somehow you're in the wrong. But no, that's not how it works. You have to question everybody and everybody's actions. But I don't remember Stephanie being arrested. Can somebody put in the chat when she was arrested? Okay, maybe it'll say here. Oh, maybe it will, because there it is, June 11th. Okay. Defendant Henyard's abuse of power has gone on for over a year and caused significant anguish to plaintiff and hampered her ability to engage in First Amendment protected political speech. Here's the arrest. Yay. The first incident in defendant mayor's, for some reason that just tickles me. And I don't mean it in a way that I'm not used to reading defendant mayor. I'm just not. Violation of plaintiff's constitutional rights took place at a tea with trustee meeting on June 11th, 2022. Okay. Francois. Yeah, her shadow. Remember that song, Me and My Shadow? Okay, so this happened at tea with the trustees. And I have a problem with tea with the trustees, and I've been very vocal about it. Because it is not filmed. Okay? Residents that cannot get there because of health issues do not know what is going on. And the trustees, specifically Tammy Brown, keep saying, come out to tea with trustees. We have a lot of information to give you. But the residents that can't get there physically or mentally, some people cannot mentally get out of their homes. Let's look at that too. But they want to know what's going on. That's the issue I have. Plain and simple. And it is a valid issue because people can't get there. And hold on one second. Sorry, damn cold. Tea with the Trustees is a reincarnation of Coffee with the Mayor that Riley used to hold on Saturday mornings. Yes, he did, at the former Dorchester. Status quo, defendant mayor legal parlance. Okay, it just tickles me. I've never read defendant mayor. It would be like defendant president or something like that. For some reason, it tickles me. So I have an issue with Tea with the Trustees. I made that vocal. I'm sticking to it. So this occurred on June 11, 2022. Do we have videotape of that? I wish we did. And if anybody knows about it, let me know. Plaintiff was present along with a number of Dolton residents who wished to speak out on village concerns, including the recall process, which was an issue of significant public concern. Okay, wait a minute. Maybe I did see this. Remember when Dan Lee got up and said this is not a good idea to recall her? I wonder if that's the meeting. We'll have to go back and look at it. Okay. Tiffany was at that meeting, right? Yeah. But wait a minute. Wasn't she in a Christmas hat? Okay. Moving on. Sorry. Train of thought just went out the window. Before the meeting began, plaintiffs had several other attendees walked out, and several attendees walked outside. While outside, the plaintiff saw Dolton employee Kim Elston placing pro-Henyard campaign flyers on the windshield of the plaintiff's car and other vehicles in the parking lot. Plaintiff removed Henyard's campaign flyers from her windshield and the windshields of cars belonging to other attendees who asked her to do so. Plaintiff saw a pile of campaign flyers that were ripped up, and cars had apparently driven over them in the parking lot, and she gathered them up to dispose of them inside. Alston saw plaintiff taking the flyer off plaintiff's car and told Mayor Henyard. Mayor Henyard ordered that plaintiff be arrested for taking a flyer off her own car and had Alston call the Dolton police to come arrest her mid-meeting. Dolton police officers Hobson, Detective DeVries, and Sergeant Harris arrived at the meeting and began to search for the plaintiff. This is getting interesting, isn't it? Oh, Lana, thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Do you like that intro? I like it too. Kind of get you dancing. Dwayne, damn it. You're going to get me started on... I know, Dwayne. I know. You have sitting trustees, which forms a quorum, and it's not being public. So what do we do? That's a good question. I did email Jason about that, and he told me it was a community setting, so it did not apply. I don't think that's true, but moving on. They entered the meeting and forcibly escorted her out of the meeting, out of the building and arrested her. I do have a cold. So this arrest was false and in violation of the plaintiff's constitutional rights. Defendant officers knew the arrest was false, but arrested the plaintiff nonetheless. They knew it was false. Okay. I have thoughts in my mind about that, but let's go ahead. Defendant officers transported plaintiff to the Dolton Village Police Precinct, where she was processed, cited, and released on a $150 bond. The bond impeded plaintiff's ability to travel outside the Northern District of Illinois. Plaintiff was charged with one count of misdemeanor theft under $500 in violation of, and I won't read that case number, okay? Plaintiff was forced to retain an attorney, of course, who represented her during the pendency of the criminal case. Plaintiff was forced to attend court for months while the case was pending. Why would it take months? Yeah, let's FOIA that police report. I'll bet if somebody sues, they will allow filming. Yeah, and I'm still going to have that discussion with Jason and put forth to him. Residents cannot get there because they are disabled, both physically and mentally. Good they know now they lose their qualified immunity, so they should have been named on that lawsuit. Yes, Lana. Why did it take months for a simple case? That's perplexing to me. Plaintiff was limited in her freedom of movement as a result of the fact that she was limited by the restrictions of the bond. It was a $150 bond. That was it. On March 4th, 2023, the charges against the plaintiff were dropped in a manner consistent with her innocence. Okay. Bold letters. Mayor Henyard continues to weaponize Dolton police against plaintiff to silence her criticism. There are so many people criticizing Henyard. The process is the punishment. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Yeah, status quo. She was removing the flyer from her own car. Not providing a means for shut-in residents to view or participate in tea with the trustees may also be a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. You know, I love my people here. You are so intelligent. You can beat the rap, but you can't beat the rye. Yeah. This is very interesting. Goes into really detailed stuff. After her June 11th, 2022 arrest, plaintiff remained actively involved in Dolton politics. Plaintiff frequently attended town meetings and other public events. Plaintiff actively participates in discussions about Dolton and Mayor Henyard online, where she has often expressed criticism of Mayor Henyard. I wonder what type of criticism. Henyard reported these criticisms to the Dolton Police Department and claimed that they made her fear for her safety and the safety of her family. What criticism? Criticism. It's a key word, criticism. Yeah, Scott, not providing reasonable accommodations. That's right. We've seen in videos that they lock the doors. I believe Coffee with the Mayor was also published online. Yes, I've seen Coffee with the Mayor. As a matter of fact, I just saw one. What criticism, and I think that's a key word in this case, isn't it? Criticism. Not threats, but criticism. They specifically say criticism and not threats. So what criticism would make Henyard be in fear for her safety and the safety of her family? Okay. This is 14 pages long, and we're moving right along on page 7. September 8th, 2022, plaintiff went to a Village of Dolton board meeting. Although the meeting was open to the public, Mayor Henyard ordered Dolton police officers in attendance to remove the plaintiff from the building. Dolton police officer Miles escorted plaintiff out of the building and told her that she wouldn't be able to attend the meeting due to a police report made against her for harassment. September 8th, 2022, Mayor Henyard called the Dolton Police Department to provide additional information on the decision to remove plaintiff from the meeting. Henyard stated that plaintiff had attended a previous board meeting and stared at Mayor Henyard, which the mayor interpreted as an attempt to intimidate and harass. How many cameras are on everybody? Yeah, Dwayne, is the Dolton Trustees YouTube page still posting? Because I've been searching for other meetings and I can't find them there. And they're not on the official Village of Dolton website anymore as well. Scott says they are. They're doing a lot of campaigning and interviews with the trustees, and they kind of get mixed up with board meetings. And of course, Ed Steve films the board meetings vertically on a cell phone, right? Tea with the Trustee meeting on the YouTube page from 12/11/2021. Thank you, Scott. I'm going to check that out again. Officer Miles, that's the one from the Las Vegas trip. Isn't it? You learn so much, when you do these lives. That's why I love them. That channel is monetized. It is. And run by Ed Steve. It is monetized. So, I have a problem with, and we still do not have board meetings on the official website for the Village of Dolton. No meeting minutes still. Jason House promised that they would happen at the end of the week. They're not there. But Ed Steve is a private citizen. Okay. He can name his channel whatever he wants. Okay. And it can be monetized. What happens to the channel if Ed is elected trustee? Would that be a conflict of interest? Lana. Ed Steve's. It just sticks out. Doesn't bobble head. Dwayne, your computer is in the shop, the soundboard. Oh no. Oh no. Well, I hope they fix it soon. Ugh. So, staring at the mayor is interpreted as an attempt at intimidation and harassment. Is that her assumption? Or did Henyard say that? Yeah, he is a vendor for the Village media, correct? I remember he used to be the cameraman for the Village. Yes. After Dwayne Muhammad was elected trustee. You can't make all these names up. They're just so intertwined, right? This sounds like a viable case. But what criticism would be a threat? You have criticism, and then you have threats. Okay. Officer Miles informed, I'm so sorry, Henyard, that he did not consider this behavior to be intimidation. Mayor Henyard continued to use the Dolton police to shut plaintiff out of the village meetings and silence her criticism. I've seen Weiderman at the Park District meetings. Does anybody recall her at the village meetings? At Village Hall. Plaintiff attended the next Dolton board meeting on September 19th, 2022. While there, she was confronted by Dolton police officer Mathis, who told her she had to remain quiet during the meeting. I don't remember all this screaming and yelling until like 2023. Dwayne, Tiff takes a disagreement as a threat. Yeah, because I think it's the terms criticism and threat. I'm sorry, when I pause, I'm usually sneezing. Status quo, assumption or presumption. Henyard's renditions, do not square with known facts. The threat of scene is the one she sent to county or state that she cited as a reason for security at the building. It was never even a threat. Yeah. Now, what is a threat? I can recall one incident that would be considered a threat. And I know everybody knows about it. Tea with the trustees, could someone go there and stream it? No, Francois, they do not allow filming. See, I'm passion now. Hello, my love. No, you cannot live stream at Tea with the Trustees. Now, so, this is a very volatile situation in Dolton. I can understand citizens being concerned about what questions they want to ask or being filmed. I can understand that. However, filming the information is what I have an issue with. Don't need to see the people in the room. You don't need to hear the people asking questions. I can understand that because, intimidation from both sides. I don't even like to use both sides. Intimidation is a real thing in Dolton. And I can understand people's concerns. However, the disagreement I have with that is filming the information being put forth to residents. Being compared to a dog is not a threat. No. And that's not the incident I was talking about. I was talking about a meeting at Village Hall. Okay. That was a Dolton meeting at Village Hall. One moment. Okay, sorry about that. Come on, Alka-Seltzer Plus, do your thing. Okay. Clinton attended the next board meeting September 19th. While there, she was confronted by Mathis and told to be quiet. Internal police reports claim that this was because plaintiff was stalking the mayor by attending board meetings and other public events. Plaintiff was denied the ability to comment during the public comment portion of the meeting and felt threatened into silence by Mayor Henyard. You can't silence public meeting or public comment, right? September 28th, Mayor Henyard hosted a public event entitled Conversation with the Township Supervisor at Thornridge High School. Plaintiff attended this event and sat quietly in the 8th row, where she engaged in no disruptive behavior. There has got to be a history between these two, because Stephanie worked for the Village of Dolton for 20 years, it said, right? Before she went over to the Park District. Despite this, Mayor Henyard directed Dolton Police to generate a police report based on plaintiff's presence at this public event. August 12th, my grandfather's birthday. Plaintiff attended a local music festival called the House Head Event. Do you remember seeing that on the warrant list? House Head? I remember that. Yes. Is this the same lady that was kicked out of the Easter? No, that was Mama Hill. That was Mama Hill that was kicked out of the Easter with her grandson. Sorry. Mayor Henyard was also in attendance and told Dolton officers on her security detail that plaintiff's presence made her feel uncomfortable and threatened. The next day, plaintiff posted mild criticisms of the mayor in the Facebook group Dolton Politics. We all knew this was going to be the Facebook page, right? About attending the event. Mayor Henyard read these posts and told Dolton police that they made her fear for her safety and that of her family. Based on Mayor Henyard's past weaponization of Dolton police against her, plaintiff sincerely fears that this and other incidents will be used to expose her to baseless criminal liability or to otherwise prevent her from participating in her local government and exercising her First Amendment rights. I have heard from Dolton residents who have emailed me and sent me pictures of police cars sitting outside of their homes. And, not the ones that have circulated. These are different ones. Is she using the police department to weaponize? These incidents have caused the plaintiff to experience loss and substantial mental anguish. That's an interesting statement to me. I'm going to pause while I think about that and see what you have to say about that statement. Remember at the caucus, Stephanie walked right past Henyard. Now, this is a 2024 case, okay? Get the date. Filed January 22nd, 2024. Okay. That's when it was filed. But Stephanie walked right past Henyard in that caucus meeting. So I'm wondering about substantial mental anguish. I'm not a lawyer. I am not a mental health professional by any means. But it's curious that would... First Amendment retaliation. In addition to her role as mayor of Dolton, Mayor Henyard was appointed to the position of township supervisor for the Thornton Township where Dolton is located. Yep. Each paragraph of this complaint is fully restated and incorporated herein. Defendant's conduct was intended to extinguish and silence the First Amendment protected free speech of plaintiff and shut down any criticism of Mayor Henyard. Defendant's conduct was intended to punish plaintiff for her First Amendment protected free speech and expressed viewpoint. The arrest of plaintiff was substantially motivated by the content of her speech and actions. Barely, Scott says. Wyoming, mental anguish might be true. She stepped away for a while. Yeah, you didn't see her for a while, did you? Dwayne, it definitely has a chilling effect on free speech, and we like free speech. I would not enjoy being called a dog by Paul Roberts. I'd be mortified. I'm just reading the comments, people. Okay. This is interesting, going through these. And I really did intend on, finding the lawsuits for the recall. But I also found something on Lacey. Well, let me put it this way. Lacey's Place versus Village of Dolton. I'm confused about how the mayor runs the police department. If you're from there and you know Lacey, we know she didn't like him. This is where I get confused. We know who really doesn't like who. Yes. Tracy, welcome. It's so good to see you. We are going over the Stephanie Weiderman case. She is suing Henyard, the Village of Dolton, and 3 police officers. Paul Roberts did not call her a dog. He just stated that any animals are better. There was like petting a dog. I can't remember exactly what he said. But of course that just flew into just a terrible display. And I'll put it like that. It was a terrible display. I did not agree. And I've said it before. Scott definitely meant to be nasty. Well, yes, it was. I did not agree with Mary Avant's actions during that time. And let me tell you why. She's running for trustee, Thornton Township. She is an ex-police officer. And she's videoed laughing and videotaping the chaos. Now, as ex-law enforcement, that is something you do not do, especially if you're running for office. You would go in to calm the situation down. That is my opinion. And I can also say professional opinion. I don't agree with that. I've said that. I can get bashed for it. But, that's my opinion. Based on my career. Based on, you're running for an elected position, you don't laugh about it and videotape it while there is gnashing of teeth. That's the kindest way that I can put it. You just don't do it. They need to do better. Ex-law enforcement would not with a not so good record as well. Yeah, Potato, I did do a video on her record. Now, over 20 years, she had 10 complaints. Okay. And I said in that video, for Chicago, I didn't think that was bad. And I really didn't. And only one was sustained, remember. And I didn't think for that area that was bad to have 10 complaints over that long of a period. Okay. That's just my observation. Because police officers are getting accused of everything all the time. Every day it happens. Her, the squad that she was a part of, the department was disbanded with over 12,000 complaints. I thought that was bad. CM Compassion, Mary talking about George Floyd. Yes. Yeah. Gonna be on somebody's neck. Why do people use that? Is that the right thing to say about anything? To use that as an example for any situation? Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that term should ever be used because that was a tragic situation. Okay, let's move on. Each paragraph of this complaint is fully restated and incorporated herein. Defendant's conduct was intended to extinguish and silence, I hope I didn't read this over again, the First Amendment protected free speech of plaintiff and shut down any criticism of Mayor Henyard. Defendant's conduct was intended to punish plaintiff for her First Amendment protected free speech and express viewpoint. That's a mouthful. The arrest of the plaintiff was substantially motivated by the content of her speech and actions. I wonder what content of her speech and actions motivated her arrest. Plaintiff was engaged in lawful First Amendment activity online and in Dolton. Plaintiff attendance and speech at Dolton public meetings was protected speech as well as an exercise of plaintiff's right to petition her local government. Defendants targeted and arrested plaintiff because she had criticized Mayor Henyard and advocated in favor of the recall election against the mayor. Plaintiff violated no laws while engaging in constitutionally protected behavior, yet Mayor Henyard ordered her to be falsely arrested, seized, and charged. Defendant's conduct has limited and extinguished plaintiff's ability to continue to exercise her free speech rights. Defendants have continued to harass and silence plaintiff by excluding her from Dolton board meetings, having officers threaten her into silence, and filing police reports accusing plaintiff of stalking for simply attending public events. Who does these lawsuits? In the beginning, CM, it listed the lawyers were involved, and it's not Odelson, Stark, or Murphy, which I was thrilled to see. I have to admit, I was thrilled to see that. Olson is not involved in this lawsuit. But why is this lawsuit filed in January 2024? That's strange timing. Because this happened in 2022, right? But here we go. Defendant's actions were objectively unreasonable and undertaken with willfulness and or reckless indifference to plaintiff's rights. Defendant's actions were directly responsible for the violation of plaintiff's First Amendment rights and the deprivations and anguish she suffered. Wherefore, pursuant to that law, plaintiff demands actual and compensatory damages plus the cost of this action and attorney fees from defendants. In addition, plaintiff demands punitive damages against defendants since they acted willfully, wantonly, and or in reckless disregard of plaintiff's rights, and for whatever additional relief this honorable court deems equitable and just. Yeah, Illinois still lives in the 80s. Well, in about 6 more days, we'll find out about that. A funny story. I was traveling. I was pulled over and by a state trooper. I won't say what state. But he sauntered up to my car, and I did not have inspection sticker. Florida does not have inspections. Okay. So I was in a different state, of course. He saunters up to the car like John Wayne. Boots, cowboy hat. He says, "You don't have an inspection sticker." I said, "Yes, sir. Florida does not have inspections on vehicles." And he said to me, "Well, we'll just see about that, little lady." That's exactly how he said it, just like John Wayne. And his gun was kind of hanging down in this cowboy stance. So he goes back to his squad car. And he comes back. And I was just about at my designation. He says, "Well, where are you going?" I said, "That driveway right there." And, "Well, you be careful out there, little lady." I had to share that because sometimes I just, you think about things in life. And oh, Francois, what happened when a city, district, county, etc. need officer, but they don't get the quote to serve? I'm not quite understanding. CM Passion, I've been watching body cam videos. You're explaining it just like one of those videos so much. I couldn't believe it. And this was a big guy. He was big. He was about, I don't know, 6'5", But he walked and talked just like John Wayne. It was like hysterical. Yeah, in Florida. I would have told him it was none of his business where I was going. Well, at that point, I was just laughing, right? Because we'll see about that, little lady. So at that point, it was just, no, it's none of his business where I was going. But at that point, it was just funny. Okay, back to Weiderman case. Fourth Amendment false arrest. Okay, so Included in this is the Village of Dolton. So you see them passion. So are the taxpayers going to have to pay for this? Not this little lady. It was hysterical. Is the taxpayers going to have to pay for this as well? Is the lawyers for the village and township going to fight this? Because I didn't see yet any lawyers for the village or township. Okay, each paragraph of this complaint is fully reinstated and incorporated herein. The individual defendant's actions and conduct as set forth above in falsely arresting plaintiff on June 11th, 2022, under color of law and without probable cause, violated her Fourth Amendment right to be free from unreasonable arrest. There was no probable cause for the arrest of the plaintiff. Well, if you're taking a flyer off of your own car, I think I vaguely remember this incident. Now that I'm thinking about it. Okay. Let me see. Defendant's actions and conduct were the direct and proximate cause of the violation of plaintiff's Fourth Amendment rights and caused her emotional distress, fear, anguish, trauma, and loss of liberty as forth more fully above. Getting arrested is very stressful. It causes a lot of anguish. I've never been arrested. Okay. Well, it does cause a lot of fear, especially, I'm not saying Stephanie is mentally, has issues mentally, but especially if you're arresting somebody with mental issues. That I see a settlement incoming. I do too, Dwayne. Do they have cameras outside of Village Hall? I remember, and I don't know if Big Mike is still here, but I remember, I think it was Henyard as mayor, a decision about cameras being around Village Hall. But sorry about that. Of course, there's body cam, right? Wherefore, pursuant to that, plaintiff demands actual and compensatory damages, plus the cost of this action and attorney fees from defendants. In addition, plaintiff demands punitive damages against defendants since they acted willfully. Didn't we already read this? Wantonly or in reckless disregard of plaintiff's rights, and for whatever additional relief. We read that above, didn't we? Okay. Malicious prosecution. Individual defendants. Each paragraph of this complaint is fully restated and incorporated herein. Okay, we're on page 11 of 14. And I think this is the only case we're going to read in this live. After defendants unlawfully arrested plaintiff in defendant mayor's orders, defendant officers charged plaintiff with theft of property under $500. Was it theft of property? If it was campaign material and it was on her car and she took it off of her car. Now, are they talking about her taking it off of other people's cars? That's a question. What officer would arrest someone for taking a flyer off their own car? I'd like to see the police report. Yeah, I think we're going to have to get that. You've never had a traffic ticket, Wyoming? Really? You're a saint. Okay. Yeah, but are they talking about her taking these campaign flyers? And what is the campaign in 2022? Does anybody remember? I think it was trustees. And then, of course, the ousting, the recall. Okay, after appearing for a hearing and 3 status dates, the prosecutor dismissed the case against the plaintiff. Probably should have done it on the first hearing, but plaintiff's dismissal evidences that the arrest was made without probable cause and that defendants executed the arrest as alleged above to silence the plaintiff. Defendants' targeting of plaintiff shows malice. This malicious prosecution caused plaintiff emotional distress, fear, anguish, to spend attorney fees and lose the liberty as set forth more fully above. This malicious prosecution was unsupported by probable cause in violation of plaintiff's Fourth Amendment rights. Wherefore, pursuant to that state statute or U.S. statute, plaintiff demands actual and compensatory, why can't I say that? Compensatory damages plus the cost of this action and attorney fees from defendants. In addition, they're reading the same thing over and over again. Plaintiff demands punitive damages against defendants since they acted willfully, wantonly, and or in reckless disregard of plaintiff's rights, and for whatever additional relief this honorable court deems equitable and just. Here's the monoclaim. Okay, let me pause here for a second. I'm sorry, I do have a cold. Okay. Wyoming, you shouldn't say that. You're showing your age. Dwayne, I haven't even been stopped since 1997. I think the last time I was stopped was in the 80s or something like that. And then, of course, that John Wayne officer, Holmes and Brown. One would have to prove the amount damages through example, did she go to therapy specifically because of this incident? Loss of wages from being arrested? Not a lawyer, but work with some. That's a good point. Excellent point, CM. I forgot I could put up, I'm sorry, I forgot I could put up chats. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm supposed to say that. Or just Brown, Tammy won her seat in 2022. I think Brown, no, I'm talking about, what's her first name? King, Jocelyn King. She beat Tammy Brown at the polls. However, it was rescinded because of her address, her residency. So Tammy got the seat. Does there have to be money damage for civil rights violations. Well, it certainly sounds like they want it. Any alleged crime from Dwayne, any alleged crime does not committed in the presence of an officer require a warrant for arrest, and subsequent arrest without a warrant is unlawful. Thank you, Dwayne. Did they have an arrest warrant? Oh, dear. I guess I'm going to have to dip into this case, aren't I? Thanks a lot, you guys. Just kidding. Okay, we're on page 11 of 14. Each paragraph of this complaint is fully restated and incorporated herein. Time and time again, this has been restated. Plaintiff had fundamental rights under the First and Fourth Amendments not to be falsely detained, maliciously prosecuted, and to be free from retaliation for her protective speech. Defendant Officer Hobson, Detective DeVries, and Sergeant Harris were at all times relevant to this complaint, employed by defendant Village of Dolton. So, Village of Dolton is named in this complaint. Not only Henyard and these 3 officers, but also the Village of Dolton. And somebody said, I smell a settlement. Defendant officers were at all times relevant to this complaint, acting under color of law and within the scope of their employment with the Village of Dolton. Defendant Henyard was at all times relevant to this complaint, mayor of the Village of Dolton. On information and belief, defendant Henyard they switched that up, defendant mayor, and now it's defendant Henyard, has the final policy-making authority over the Dolton Police Department in her role as mayor of Dolton. Does the mayor have the final policy-making authority over a police department? That's a question. Darn good one, if I say so myself. I'm sorry, I'm missing comments. Oh, see, I'm passion. Punitive damages are meant to penalize the defendant, whereas compensation. Why am I twisting my tongue over that word? Damages are meant to make up for actual losses. Thank you very much, CM Compassion. Civil rights violations. Do you have to prove monetary loss? Yes, if you're asking for compensation. I love this group. Thank you, CM Passion. I thought maybe I didn't word it right for the first time. Okay. Unless it is being asked to compensate in a different way, but this document doesn't specify, does want money or something else. Wyoming gal, it depends. The problem is the attorney costs make it hard to justify many abused. Scott, is there anything in the prayer for relief section? CM Passion. At this point, I believe we could all claim mental anguish and potato. I agree. I absolutely agree. Can you imagine how many thousands of people have had to endure this on their own? But it's on their own. They don't have to watch. Okay. Policy making. Okay. I'm sorry. Excuse me. The decision to arrest and charge Plainton was made pursuant to defendant Henyard's policy and order. And police departments have to go under certain policies. So I'm curious about that. Defendant Henyard's unlawful policy to silence and exclude her critics was the direct and proximate cause of plaintiff's unlawful arrest, malicious prosecution, and the violation of her First Amendment rights. Wherefore, pursuant to U.S. Code such and such, plaintiff demands actual and compensatory damages plus the cost of this action and attorney fees from defendants in addition for whatever additional relief is this honorable court deems equitable and just. Okay, we're on page 12 of 14. Whew. At this point, I believe... Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I clicked on that again. Okay, one moment. I'm sorry. I'm dealing with a cold. Dwayne says, no mental anguish here. I'm looking at this as a total failure of Democrat-run entities. Dwayne doesn't have mental anguish. Okay. Malicious prosecution. Plaintiff realleges all proceedings, paragraphs as if fully set forth herein. Defendant officers commenced and or continued fake felony criminal charges against the plaintiff. Well, this was not a felony criminal charge, was it? Can somebody refresh my memory? Theft under $500, is that a felony? Francois, there are only one loser at the end of the day, and it's the residents. Absolutely. Absolutely correct. Yeah, Scott. I didn't think it was a felony. So I find that curious. What was the felony criminal charges? Okay, let's carry on. Defendant officers did so with malice. There was no probable cause for such charges. The charges were terminated in a manner favorable to the plaintiff and indicative of, why can I say indicative and not get that compensatory word, of the innocence of the plaintiff. The actions of the defendant officers, as described above, were committed in the scope of employment as principal and employer. Defendant Village of Dolton is liable for its agents' actions under the doctrine of respondent supervisor. Oh, sorry. Respondent superior. Oh, sorry. Wherefore, plaintiff demands that she will be given compensatory damages against defendants and enter judgment against the Village of Dolton for its agents' actions under the doctrine of respondent superior. What do we have to say about that? Yeah, the only ones who are making money are the lawyers. And possibly Miss Weiderman. Or is it Mrs. Weiderman? I don't know if she's married or not. See, I'm passionate. True. Francois, she's right. Okay. Thank you, Jay. Compensatory. Thank you. I don't know why that word is tongue twisting to me. Compensatory. Thank you so very, very much. I really appreciate that. You know, some words are tongue twisters to different people, aren't they? Oh, goodness. Almost done. Torius and story. Okay, we are on page 13 and 14. Okay. Indemnification. I got it. Indemnification. See, I could say that word. Each paragraph of this complaint is fully restated and incorporated herein. Plaintiff brings state law indemnification claims against the Village of Dolton for any judgment entered against the individual defendants. So, does the village have to pay for the individuals, or is this against the individuals, whereas the village will have to pay for it? Ugh. Wherefore, plaintiff requests the judgment be entered in favor of her against Dolton for the amounts of any compensatory damages awarded against the individual defendants. Okay, so here's all the lawyers listed. Okay. Oh, they want a trial by jury. That's a whole different ball game, isn't it? What do you think about that? Will it go to jury? Will it go to trial? Or will they settle? The village will pay, as they are the indemnified. I am dealing with a cold. I do apologize. Money, money, money. I will not butcher you with my singing. Okay. So this is the case coming forth. I'm going to rapidly, so close your eyes because it's going to go rapid. Zip up to the top. This is the court case. It was filed in January 2024, last year. Okay. Let me see. The last thing was an attorney appearance. And that's as far as it's gotten so far. So I'm only going to read this one because that was quite a lot. But let me see. I was interested in this one as well. Let me share the screen on it. See it. Let me get it up. Search. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Lacey's Place, LLC versus the Village of Dolton et al. Civil rights. The reason I was interested in that is because Karen, hi, how are you? So good to see you. I'm sorry you're under the weather. It's awful, isn't it? Melissa, very good to see you. Yeah, Lacey's place. Maybe we'll do that one tomorrow. What do you think? Anybody interested in that one? What else do we have for lawsuits? We've got, we just did Weiderman. Redmond versus Henyard. Williams versus Dolton et al. Lane versus the Village of Dolton. Lacey's Place, LLC, the Village of Dolton et al. George's Towing, Inc. versus the Village of Dolton. That's curious because remember, they just hired a third towing company. This was filed August 29th, 2023. The Redeemed Christian Church of God, Resurrection, Power Assembly versus Henyard et al. And you can write in the comments which one you want to see tomorrow. We'll do another live. Williams versus the Village of Dolton et al. There's so many, aren't there? Johnson versus Village of Dolton et al. Issam Jr. et al. Versus Village of Dolton et al. Oh, Wilkins versus the South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force. Ooh, that looks interesting. That was filed May of 2024. Civil rights suit. Interesting. Phillips versus Village of Dolton. Murdoch et al. Versus Grano et al. I wonder if those are lawyers. I don't know. Woods et al. Oh, versus Freeman et al. That's interesting. Woods. Now, remember, I wonder if this is the Woods that Tammy Brown voted to pay for. I wonder. Anybody got any? Somebody. Trina wants to see Woods versus Henyard. Okay. That's the barbecue stand. Okay, thank you very much. I thought so. What does that say? Catkin versus Village of Dolton. This was filed January 12th, yesterday, 2025. Pablo's and Bar versus the Village of Dolton, filed March 1st, 2024. Gardner et al. Versus Henyard et al. There's a lot. Oh, we got a Salk Village in here. Okay, and a lot of Salk villages too, aren't there? Okay. Tina wants to see the Woods case. I recently saw Stephanie on a live with Kiana Belcher and that guy that does investigate. Oh, Jed. Yep. I didn't see that live yet. I've been kind of floating here and there. So Tina wants to see Woods versus Henyard. Yeah, that's a lot. That's what happens when you don't do things by the book. Correct. Tina, yes, basically they shut. Yes, I remember that. I remember doing a video on that because all the employees and everything came up begging. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. To have it reopened. Pablo's is open back up, by the way. Did you see Regina in interview? No. No, I did not. So it looks like we're going to yes, Karen. I love that dog. That's a cute dog. So it looks like we're going to be doing Woods versus what was it? Woods versus Henyard, or no, Woods versus Freeman. We will do that tomorrow. Subscribe. Where can I see Regina's interview? Did I miss it? Did I forget about it? Where did I? Oh, Karen, please remind me. Did I see it or did I miss it? Or saw it and thought I have to go back to it? I'm not quite sure. Sometimes it gets confusing. So tomorrow, 1 o'clock, we will do Woods versus Freeman. That should be really interesting, shouldn't it? Okay, subscribe. Thank you so very much. Very, very much for tuning in. It was on. Oh, okay. I'll check it out. Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you very much. I thought this was fun in a way that it's interesting. Let me put it that way. Channel 5, it just aired today. That's why I missed it. Okay. Fun in the way that it's very interesting, isn't it? To see how these things are going to play out. Oh, Scott wants me to hold on 1 second. In capital letters. He means business. Okay, Scott, I'm holding on. Uh-oh. Am I thinking about... I know there was an interview done this morning, and I saw it. I didn't watch it, but I saw it. Okay. Okay, Scott wants to ask something reference the Weiderman case. Okay. Minute entry before the Honorable Robert Gentleman on review of the parties' joint status report 33. The court refers discovery supervision, including the authority to set deadlines, and settlement to Magistrate Judge McShane. Telephonic status hearing before this court set for November 26, 2024 is stricken to reset. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Scott. I'm sorry. I've got that. I'm so sorry. Scott is amazing. He is really amazing. Wyoming is amazing. You all are really amazing. And I love you very much. And I think we're getting company. Parties will not be asked to start their video. Counsel of record and other essential case participants will receive an email prior to the start of the hearing with instructions to join the hearing. We've seen those kind of court cases, haven't we? Yeah. Okay. Oh, thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate that. All my mods are absolutely fantastic. All my members, all my listeners, and especially the residents of Dolton are very, very special. You watch on Jed's channel. My mother has found her checkbook. She is 91 years old, and she's loving my brother right now, if you hear the noise in the background. He had her checkbook. So, my mother is 91 years old. She takes one pill for blood pressure. It's a fact. She's amazing. I watched it on Jed's channel. He found out that he and Andrew Holmes have the same lawyer. Things that might make you go, There's a lot of things that make you go, isn't it? Finding Good, welcome. The recap. We just went through the court case, Stephanie Weiderman against Tiffany Henyard and 3 police officers for false arrest. And she is suing these people individually and also the Village of Dolton. And of course, you can do the rewind and watch it, the whole thing. It's 14 pages long. Scott says that this case is going to be held in July of this year. So thank you so much for joining. Can we get that in layman's language, Scott? Okay. Yeah. This channel was built on informing Dolton residents, but it has really grown to inform everybody that is interested in this, right? And we're learning so many things. And we look at things sideways because things seem weird. And that's what I love about this channel. It doesn't rip apart people for having a different opinion. Everybody is welcome as long as you do not attack another commenter or swear. Please don't swear. That's it, Karen. Fania Dukes was interviewed this morning. That's what I remember. Looks like there's at least some sort of hearing in July. Not sure if that's the beginning of the trial. It could be. Mama Conscious. Wyoming. I reach across. Thank you very much, Finding and Good. Yeah, Fania Dukes. I played some public comments with her in it, not realizing because she was supporting Tiffany, and I felt really bad after that because yes, it does need a trigger warning, and I felt really bad after producing that video because I thought, oh God, this is going to bring up so many memories for her. And she did comment to me that she regretted everything that she did say. Fania interview did answer some questions. Wonderful. I do have to watch it. I haven't watched it yet. She talks about that and how much she really, really loved Tiffany. Yeah. And I think she did, and to be allegedly, because this is an ongoing case. And here we try not to throw out accusations that have not been proven, right? I'm not saying Fania's wrong, okay? Don't get it twisted. We try not to get into conversations that have legalities, right? Because all the facts have not come out. There's going to be a lot going on with that case. And we'll have to see. The only thing that we can do is just pray and keep Fania in our hearts. And that's all we can say, Narcissistic people pick their victims. That's science. Yes. I have to agree with that, you know. She says she still does. Yeah, you know, the the betrayal, okay, that allegedly happened. And I have to say that, no matter what my opinion on it is, and I have a strong opinion on it. Uh, but you know, that kind of betrayal, and how many people were involved in that betrayal. Sorry, betrayal. Ugh. It's a terrible thing. And do I think she's telling the truth? Yes, because I have seen her standing and physically shaking. Okay, you cannot fake that. Uh, Not the physical signs. Okay, you can't fake that. I have seen zero evidence in the Duke's case. All he said, she said. She might be truthful, but there's no actual evidence in the public domain. Correct. And that's why we have to be careful. Do I believe her? Yes. I believe something happened. And I have said it before. The police officer who was on active duty, and police officers are on active duty 24/7, by the way. Okay. I have said something against him because he filmed it while it was allegedly going on. Okay. It is a police officer's duty. Is he culpable for an active SA? Viewing that active SA and not calling the police saying, this crime is happening in real time in this room in this hotel. We have to keep it 100, right? We really do. Isaac, welcome. Welcome. How is this mind and soul? Well, we all believe in Christ, don't we? I do. With every spot of my being. Look at grooming and the science of that behavior. Yes. I've taken a few courses, and that's all I'm going to say about it. But yes, you're right. Finding and good. Dolton needs a new administration from A to Z. What is going to be different? Okay, say House is elected mayor. Are the trustees going to get in? Or is it going to be a mixture? Because there's other trustees running. There's other candidates as well. It's not just Henyard in-house. Okay. What's going to be the dynamics of the administration if Tiffany loses? Not a Judd fan, but she is very graceful that he had her back and helped her. I hope he follows through. I think he is, and I hope he does. Judd and I have had our conversations. The officer had no way of knowing she was not there of her own volition. Well, we've heard the recordings. If those are true recordings from Andrew Holmes, okay, because I didn't hear any names mentioned. And that's the thing with recordings with no visuals, right? Somebody will say something, this is such and such, and you'll listen to that and say, yes, that's him. I'm not saying the recordings are false. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the recording without the so-called video, because the officer was recording it, right? And yes, I do blame that officer. Because apparently she did not know what was happening. She was knocked out, right? So yes, I can blame that officer. In my own personal opinion, as being prior law enforcement, I can say that. They're going at it with dissemination of photos, which they do have evidence of. I haven't seen the photos. Clean House has about 10 YouTube channels that are nothing but campaign rallies. Yeah. I did see the interview on Jed's channel. I thought it was kind of soft. And I'll leave it at that. Scott, I'm still waiting. Oh, and everybody, actually. I'm still waiting for an answer from Jason House about those houses that get $1,000 and $500. It's not going to be better with Clean House. It's going to be different. Yes, and how is it going to be different? There are cameras on every floor of every hotel on the Strip in Las Vegas. What do the footage from those dates reflect? Exactly. Do you think the police did not look at that footage? There's so many questions to this case, but they dropped criminal charges, right? Los Angeles. Do I have that right? Sorry, blowing my nose. And that's a cause for pause. But why didn't that officer immediately call the police and avoid all of this? That's all I'm saying. And I can say it because I was on the job. That's why I can say it. So if this is true, he was filming it, FaceTiming it as it was happening. Why did he not pick up the phone? I am visually seeing an essay in progress at such and such hotel room and hotel. And you know, that's my issue. People don't like me saying that. But I'm sorry. You know, you take an oath, whether you're an elected official, a police officer, such and such. You have to stand by that oath. And I have always been firm on that every day of my life, ever since I took oath. Maybe you can look at the interview, and we can come back later and just talk about it a little bit with Grace. Yes, Karen, that's a good idea. We've been on here 2 hours. Please like, subscribe. I do believe Fiona, Miss Dukes. You know, I do believe something happened. Okay. I don't know why LA police dropped the case. Well, close the case. But you know, that's for future discussion, like Karen says. So I will watch that interview. And it's a horrible thing, isn't it? It's a terrible thing. Thank you all. I really appreciate it. For everybody coming in late, you can go to the beginning of the live and start watching the whole thing. It's Stephanie Weiderman against Mayor Henyard, 3 police officers, and the Village of Dolton. Okay. Everybody have a wonderful day. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate each and every one of you.